Hello, good evening. Welcome to my new YouTube channel. Oo, so nagtataka ka kung bakit hindi ka nakasubscribe sa channel kong ito? Because I changed my YouTube channel. So ito na ngayon ang bagong YouTube channel ko. Make sure na kayo ay magsasubscribe at do not forget to hit the notification bell para kung ano pang lesson na i-upload ko ay updated ka. Lalo-lalo na ngayon, grade 6 students. Please start subscribing to my channel and do not forget to hit the notification bell para kung ano mang i-upload ko ay updated. So, I hope na nakakatulong ang aking mga video sa inyo, lalong-lalo na sa grade 6 students and parents para sa pag-guide sa kanilang mga estudyante. So today, as I promised, I will be doing the part 2 of week 2. Since meron pa kayong Thursday and siguro Friday for you to complete your module, sana makatulong ito. Let's start. So here, the part 2 is all about solves routine and non-routine problems involving multiplication without or with addition or subtraction of fractions and mixed fractions. After going through this lesson, you are expected to solve routine or non-routine problems involving multiplication without or with addition or subtraction of fractions and mixed fractions using appropriate problem-solving strategy and tools. So kung yung part 1 natin ay more on solving only abstraction, so here we are going to apply this in word phrases and word problem. In solving a word problem, we have the routine and non-routine type of problems that we already discussed in our addition and subtraction of the similar fractions. So, in multiplication, we will take note of the possible phrases that we can use in applying in multiplying any kinds of numbers. These are, in my part 1, I already told you the phrases that we can use in multiplication, and let us recall it. We have the times, and then we have times the product of, multiplied by, the word of, twice, and thrice. These phrases and words tells us that the operation is multiplication. So now let's go to the next slide. So the next slide is the learning task 1, which it is only just like a diagnostic questions for us to know what we already know about multiplying and word problem involving multiplication. So here, the task 1 tells us to translate the given phrases into mathematical phrases. And meron din tayo nito dun sa addition and subtraction dun sa week 1. That is also learning task number 1. At marami nagkamali dito because what they did, they solved the given. They not just write it into mathematical phrases, but also they solved it. But the direction here is only to translate the given phrases. Ibig sabihin, gagawin mo lang siyang number sentence. So here in number 1, so let us take note of the phrases and words that will tell us what operation to be used. Now here, I will just explain number 1. We have here the word thrice, which means what operation? This means multiplication. And then we have sum, means, sinabing sum, that is addition. And then we have less, which means subtraction. So here in number 1, we have 3 operations. Let us read the word phrases. Thrice the sum of 3 fifths and 2/3 less 1/2 is what number? Ulitin natin ha. Thrice the sum of 3/5. Isulat na natin yung 3/5. And 2/3 less 1/2 is what number? So now, pag meron tayong nakitang word na sum, difference, product, quotient, sa isang word phrase or mathematical word phrase, pag may nakita kayo nitong mga to na word na ito, kalimitan sila yung inilalagay sa parentheses. So here, ulitin ko ha, kapag may nakita kayo nitong apat na to, ito yung mga terms na ginagamit dun sa mga sagot sa addition, sagot sa subtraction, answer in multiplication, and answer in division. So when you saw these words in a mathematical phrase, into a word phrases, that means we need to put it inside the parentheses. Now, so again, here in learning task number 1 is to translate the phrase to mathematical phrases. So here, I will not go into answer this, but I'm going to give you example. So let's have first this tip. I'm going to give you tips. Number one tip is to take note of the word clues or word phrases that will tell us what operation will be used. Okay, that is number 1. Number 2, when you saw these words, in phrases, so gagamit kayo ng parentheses. So kapag let's have an example. Twice the difference of 1/3 and 1/5. Okay, yan ang example natin. Twice the difference of 1/3 and 1/5. Now, let's have the terms that we use. The terms that we use is twice, which means, sulat natin yung sagot. Twice, which means 2 times. The difference, so sabi ko pag may nakita nitong mga word na to, naka-parentheses. Twice, the difference ng ano? 1/3. Difference, di ibig sabihin, minus yon. And 1/5 is what number? So that is an example. Or pwede naman kung wala namang nakalagay ng what number. So we have twice, 2 times, quantity 1/3 minus 1/5 is the answer. Let's have another example. The product of 3/4 and the sum of 1/2 and 1/4. Okay, this is our next example. The product of of 3/4 and the sum of 1/2 and 1/4. Now let's proceed to the terms. Okay, we have here the product means we have multiplication, the product of 3/4. Sulat natin yung una. 3/4 times. Saan daw ito times? Sa sum. Pag may nakitang sum, lagyan ng parenthesis. Sum ng ano daw? We have 1/2 and 1/4. Sum ng 1/2 and 1/4. So we have here the product of 3/4 and the sum of 1/2 and 1/4. So that is our example for this learning task number 1. Now let's proceed to the next slide. So now, in problem solving, there are steps that we need to follow. First, identify the given facts. Second, actually, identifying the given facts is under the step of understand. So when we say understand, the step 1 is understand, determine what is asked in the problem, and determine the given facts. That is step 1, plan. Step 2 is step 1 is understand. Step 2 is to plan. Under plan, we need to determine the operation to be used and determine the operation to be used and then translate it into number sentence. Then step 3 is to solve, and step 4 is to check whether your answer is correct. So that is the steps in problem solving. And sa students ko, para mas madali nilang maintindihan at matandaan yung steps in problem solving, we have the agona: ask, given, operation, number, sentence, and then we have the answer. So now here in task number 2 actually, we need just to translate each of the following problem into mathematical sentence and then solve. So ang kinukuha lang dito is that translate natin sa number sentence tapos isosolve. Now, let's have example number 1. Let's have example number 1. We have 3/4 multiplied by 16 over 21 is what number? So here, let us first translate. We have multiplied by, that means multiplication. We have 3/4 multiplied by 16 over 21 is what number? So that is for number 1. And then let us solve. So here we can use cancellation. We have the pair of factors, the pair of numbers 4 and 6, and they both divisible by 4, which is 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. And then we have the pair of number 3 and 21. They are both divisible by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 21 divided by 3 is 7. Now, let us proceed to multiplication. We have 1 times 4 is, try natin itong isa. 1 times 4 is, of course, 4. And then 1 times 7 is 7. Therefore, the answer is 4 sevens. Let's have another example. I'm not going to get the example from 2, 3, 4. I'm going to write my own example. Example is the product of 1 and 2/3 and 3 and 1/4 is what number? Now let us solve. The product of, we have 1 and 2/3 times 3 and 1/4. So in our previous lesson, we cannot directly multiply mixed numbers because we need to translate it first into an improper fraction. So hindi pwedeng i-multiply mo yung 1 at 3, hindi mo pwedeng i-multiply yung numerators at denominators. Now we have 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 5. Copy the denominator, 3 times 3 times 4, or 4 times 3 is 12 plus 1 is 13. Copy the denominator, 4. Now let us multiply. Meron ba tayong pwede i-cancel? Wala tayong pwede i-cancel. So we have 5 times 13 is 65. And then 3 times 4 is 12. So, or the answer is 12 divided by 65 is 5. Remainder 5 over 12. So the answer is 5 and 5 over 12. So this is for learning task number 2. Now let's proceed to the next slide. Now we have here the learning task number 3. Solve the following problems. Write your solution in your notebook. So here, depende sa instruction ng teacher nyo. Sabi kasi dito, solve the following problems. You can write the agona para mas maayos yung solutions nyo. We only have here 4 problems. The agona, we have the ask, given, operation, number, sentence, and then answer. So make sure na may solution yung answer. Let us have here the number 1. Alright, number 1, a room is 8 2/3 meters by Alright, in number 1, a room is 8 2/3 meters by 5 1/4 meters. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung dimension ng isang room. Anong shape kaya ng room na yon? Ibig sabihin, siya ay isang rectangle. What is the area of the room? So now, ang tinatanong, what is asked in the problem is the area of the room that is asked. And what are the given? We have the given 8 2/3, 5 1/4 meters. Yun po yung given. So, pag area ba ng rectangle ang tinatanong, what operation will be used? That is multiplication. Now, let us write the number sentence. We have 8 2/3 times 5 1/4. So, pwede ba nating i-multiply yan? Yung 8 2/3 agad? No, we cannot directly multiply mixed number. But first, we need to change them into an improper fraction. So, we have 8 times 3 is 24 plus 2 is 26. Copy the denominator, 3 times 5 times 4 is 20, or 4 times 5 is 20 plus 1, 21. Copy the denominator, 4. So now here we can multiply the two improper fraction. Pero tingnan natin kung alin ang pwede natin i-cancel, yung pair ng number na pwede natin i-cancel. We can cancel out, syempre kita-kita naman natin, we can cancel out 3 and 21. They are both divisible by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 21 divided by 3 is 7. What else can we cancel out? We have 26 and 24, they are both divisible by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 26 divided by 2 is 30. Now, we can now multiply. So, we have 13 times 7 is 91. And 1 times 2 is 2. Or, what is the answer? 91 over 2, 40. 5 and 1/2. So the area of the room is 45 and 1/2 meter square. So here is the answer. So medyo magulo yung solution ni Ma'am. Wala akong sulatan. Alright. Now, here in number 2, a group of volunteer pack 198 bags of rice. Oh. And then, each bag contains 3 1/4 kilo of rice. How many kilograms of rice did the volunteers pack? Okay, ito daw yung bilang ng nai-pack na rice. O, bilang ng bags na kanilang naipack. 198 lahat. So, ito yon 198 lahat yung kanilang parang nailagay sa bags na bigas. Pero bawat bag ay, ang bigat niya ay 3 1/4 kilograms of rice. So, ibig sabihin 198 na 3 1/4 kilograms of rice. Ang tinatanong ngayon dito is, how many kilograms of rice did the volunteers pack? Kung pagsasama-samahin mo daw yung bigat ng bawat pack ng rice, ilan lahat, gaano kabigat lahat daw sila? Kung 198 na 3 1/4 kilograms of rice. So that is learning task number 3, 2. How about number 3? A baker uses 3 3/5 tablespoon of melted butter for every kilogram of flour. How many tablespoons of melted butter he used for 13 1/2 kilograms of flour? So here, meron pala ako isang, okay, here in number 3, kailangan daw ng, we need 3 3/5 tablespoon na melted butter. Kumbaga, pag magluluto sa harina daw, pag nagluluto, kailangan mo daw ng mahigit 3 kutsarang melted butter. Yun daw ang kailangan. 3 3/5 melted tablespoon of melted butter ang kailangan sa 1 kilong harina in 1 kilogram. Kasi nakalagay dito every. Ibig sabihin, in 1 kilogram of flour, we need 3 3/5 tablespoon or mahigit 3 kutsara na butter ang kailangan in every kilogram of flour. Ngayon, ang tinatanong, how many tablespoon, ilang kutsara kaya ang kailangan if he used 13 1/2 kilograms of flour? Dito kasi, pag 3 3/5, 1 kilo lang ng flour, 1 kilogram of flour. What if 13 1/2 kilograms of flour ang lalagyan mo ng melted butter? How many tablespoons of melted butter he used for 13 1/2 kilograms? So, parang ganun lang. Now, in number 4, we have Aling Lusing or Aling Luz bought 3 yards of linen cloth which cost 72 pesos per yard. She gave 1,000 pesos to the cashier. How much change will she receive? So here, the application of fractions in money In number 4, Aling Lusing bumili ng 3/4 yard ng linen cloth at ang bawat yarda in every 1 yard, it cost 72 pesos. Sa isang yarda, in 1 yard, 72 pesos. Pero ang binili niya lang ay 3/8. But Aling Luz only bought 3/8. Wala pang isang yarda. And magkano ang ibinayad niya? She paid or she gave the cashier 1,000 pesos. What is asked in the problem? How much change will she receive? Kung nagbayad siya ng 1,000, magkano yung kanyang makukuhang sukli? So that is the question. So may hidden question tayo ngayon dito. So bago mo makuha yung sukli, may hidden question tayo. Ang hidden question natin here, how much is the 3/8 yards of linen cloth? So, ibig sabihin, wala pang isang yarda yung nabili niya. Ang liit naman ang binili niya. 3/8 yards naman. So, it's for you to answer this learning task number 3. Now, let's go to the learning task number 4. Here, in learning task number 4 is write the equation and then solve. Parehas lang naman nung unang ginawa natin. So, here, multiply 7/9 to the sum of 8. Here, in number 1, we have multiply 7/9. Sulat natin. Multiply 7/9 to the sum of 8 and 3/7 plus 5 and 11/14. So, ilang operation meron tayo? Dalawa. So, now, let us proceed to the parenthesis kasi nga, PEMDAS na parenthesis muna. We have copy 7/9 times. So, kopyahin natin si whole number. I-add natin na si whole number. 5 plus 8 is 13. And then, the LCD of 7 and 14 is 14. Ang kulang na lang natin ay numerator. We have 14 divided by 7 is 2 times 3 is 6. Copy plus, we have 14 divided by 14. Or ganito, kung makita nyo na, parehas lang yung si denominator na ginamit nyo sa LCD. Walang mababago dun sa numerator niya. So now here we have 7/9 times, pwede na natin alisin ng parenthesis kasi i-add na natin siya, times, i-multiply na natin, times 13 and 17/14. Here, improper to, pwede na natin hindi muna siya i-convert into, idadagdag natin sa 13 yung whole number. Hindi na kasi we still have here multiplication. So now, dito natin ituloy. We have 7/9 times, hindi pwedeng 13 and 7/14. I-multiply muna natin siya, gawin natin siyang improper fraction. 14 times 13 is 182 plus 17. 182 plus 17 is 199. Ako, medyo malaki. Copy the denominator, 14. So now, hindi pa yan ang sagot. Tingnan nyo, kapag ganitong kalaki na yung number na i-multiply nyo, parang tatama rin na kayo kasi ang laki-laki na ng number. But take note, we can also use cancellation method. Yung 7 at 14, pwedeng i-divide sa 7. So, this will become 1. 7 divided by 7 is 1. And 14 divided by 7 is 2. So, we have 1 times 199 is 199. And 9 times 2 is 80. Or, pag i-divide natin si 199 sa 18, ang lalabas dyan ay 11 and 1/8. So, So this is the answer for number 1. And in number 2, I will not answer it anymore, but I will give you tips. So the product of, isa lang yung operation kasi yun lang yung nabanggit. And then in number 3, find the area of the room. So when we are finding the area of the room, dahil dalawa lang naman yung nabanggit dito, it is a rectangle. Paano ba pag sinabing area of rectangle? That is length times width. And in number 3, a bus can travel 18 and 3/8 kilometer in 1 hour. Sa loob ng isang oras, ito ang kanyang natatakbo. How far can it travel in 3/8 hours? So, wala pang isang oras. Ano? How far? Kung sa loob ng isang oras, ito yung kanyang natatakbo o natatravel. Paano kung we have 3/8 of an hour? Gaano kalayo yung mararating ng bus? And number 5, Inday wanted to have 120 kilograms of Indian mango. She picked 10 bags of it. Each bag contained 9.5 kilograms. How many kilograms of Indian mango did she need? How many kilograms of Indian mango did she need more?
So here in problem number 5, we have gusto niya 120 kilograms ng Indian mango. Pero nung maglagay siya sa 10 na bags, nakapaglagay siya sa 10 na bags na ng Indian mango wherein each bag contains 9.5 kilograms. So parang kulang pa siya sa 120 kasi 10 bags na bawat bags ay 9.5 kilograms, so kulang siya sa 120. Ngayon, the question is, ilan pa daw yung kailangan niya na kilograms to make it equal to 120 all in all, 120 kilograms of Indian mango. So yun yung problem ni Inday.